Welcome to Art for Film's Sake. I'm Stephen Reed, and this is Superman the Movie by Blake Armstrong. To be honest, all I really need to do for this episode is to edit some dynamic shots of this gorgeous poster to that music, and you'd be watching a pretty good episode of Art for Film's Sake. Job done. But, as usual, I've got a few things to say about this amazing piece of work by Blake Armstrong. The main reason I love it is because it fills me with a nostalgic joy. Superman the Movie is an early cinematic joy from my childhood. I was only 1 year old when it was released in cinemas, but I have vivid memories of seeing it many times on video and TV in subsequent years. It seems that, in those days, a film captured and held the imagination of audiences for many years. At least, that's how it seemed to 5-year-old me. And Superman was huge. If you think about it, this was the first true comic book film. Today we are spoiled for choice, but in 1978, the idea of a superhero film was super exciting. This dazzling poster by Blake Armstrong is a brilliant encapsulation of this. It has everything that Richard Donner's film promised and delivered on. A new star in Christopher Reeve, Margot Kidder as the sassy and still the best Lois Lane. The film has an impressive roster of legendary stars too. The two big ones, Marlon Brando as Jor-El and Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor, rightly feature here. I also love how Jimmy Olsen, played by Mark McClure, is also present. A key character from the film, and one that seems to have been lost in more recent Superman storytelling. Every one of them has been superbly captured by Armstrong. Here is an artist who clearly has a talent for likenesses. And it's his airbrush style that fits so well. It brings not only a pre-digital film poster vibe, but for this film specifically, it allows him to really go to town on bringing the dazzle. The light trails and shiny starburst effects are in full effect here. This poster is almost in danger of exploding because of it, but Armstrong has shown a deft touch and delivered a balanced composition that means they don't overwhelm the piece. The way they've also been given connection with each featured character is a great touch that tells us the artist has a real understanding of the plot. The easiest of these to spot is the larger white crystal of Krypton that sits behind Superman. And whilst we're in this section of the art, it would be remiss of me not to draw your attention to the way the clenched fist of that soaring Superman lines up with one of the pointed ends of that big crystal. You could zoom in on this section alone and you've got another great Superman poster right there. Put some titles and credits on it and I'd buy it. Then we move over to Lex Luthor and the green kryptonite colour streaks emanating from him. This signals to us, the viewer, as to whose side he's on. Extra points to Armstrong for visualizing that skyline of buildings behind the green, a nod to the greedy real estate plan that drives Luther's ambitions. As we scan further down, those red streaks become apparent. They not only act as the right-hand side of Superman's cape, but also tell us that Jimmy Olsen is one of the good guys. As is Lois Lane behind Olsen. She positively glows radiant in white as the love interest of our titular superhero. Cocooned in those vertical white stripes as she is, perhaps shows us how enraptured with Superman she is. And if we follow those lines down, we come to Jor-El, Superman's real father, as he almost disappears into that vast void of exploding white light. I see this as a representation of the horrifying end of Krypton. But then, that meaning flips when you see those perfectly rendered, iconic titles. They soar triumphantly out of the white light, telling us that the death of the planet Krypton is also the moment when Superman is born. Sent to Earth to grow up and become the most famous superhero of all time. And it's film posters as fabulous as this one, created by talented artists like Blake Armstrong, that fill me with the wide-eyed wonder I once felt when I too was just a small boy, caught up in the magic of cinema.